Hello!
Welcome to your Monday morning. Welcome to cooking. I have to say, when I was a little girl, I always wanted to have a cooking class. So thank you, YouTube, because now I'm doing a cooking class live. All right, so today we are going to show you how to make a couple of different things. Our homemade bread. This recipe is actually from my cookbook, Be Vegan, Skip the Diet to See Healthy, which also is on sale right now for the next 48 hours for $9.99. It's a great deal. And then also I've got on sale my vegan weight loss course. Can you see that?
Can you see it?
I've been working with people for probably about the last 4 months, doing personal coaching and helping them lose weight. And I've had really amazing results, or rather I've encouraged people to see really amazing results in their own life with weight loss and just making positive changes in their life. So if you're interested, that is $50 off for the next 48 hours, and the cookbook is $9.99. So what we're going to show you how to make today is some bread, and I've got 3 stages of bread here. This is stage 1, but I'm going to show you how to get to this stage, and then we will show you how it looks in the end. We've got 3 breads going here just to show you how it all works.
So come on over and have some bread, but bring the masks.
But what's great about this bread is that it freezes really well. So if you make a bread, you don't have to, you can cut it in half, put half in a Ziploc bag and then freeze it. And when you defrost it, it tastes just as good as it does when it's fresh.
Yeah,
so,
and also like a quick story on that. So basically when I came to US, and no, actually it was on a ship. So when I came to working on a cruise ships, and then we came back to the country, to US, I couldn't find any bread that was very similar to bread that they have in Europe. And I was craving so hard that I'm like, man, this is not the same, I would love to make it. And then by accident, we went to our family in the other state, and then they have a party, and then person brought the bread, and we just flipped out. This was like, what do you mean you made this? And it's so easy, is it that really
so
easy? We couldn't believe how easy this was, so we started making and so many breads, and I never bought the bread since, like, well, not maybe never, but I don't buy bread since, I don't know, 10 years? No, maybe not 10.
And the thing is, like I don't eat
years.
a ton of bread just because, well, I'm pregnant now, but for weight loss sake, bread and having flour in your diet is not the best way to lose weight. But when I do have bread, this is the bread that I do have because it's so tasty. And if you look at any
delicious.
bread, even from like Walmart to Whole Foods, you look at the list of ingredients, it's long and it's full of
It's never ending, and it's
Yeah.
like tiny things, like 30 ingredients or more.
Yeah, this has 3 ingredients.
Has 4
ingredients.
Yeah.
We call it in the cookbook the minimalist bread,
And the
because
4
it's
natural
really
ingredients. There's
minimal.
no nothing into it. And
Yeah.
let's get into it. So we
Okay,
can show you.
so basically what it is, we'll show you this version in just a sec, but what you want to do is have a bowl, a large mixing bowl, and then I've got 6 cups of flour in here to make the big bread, and then a tablespoon of active dry yeast, and a tablespoon, I'm using Himalayan sea salt or rock salt, but you could use sea salt, just some kind of better quality salt, and you just pour it all in there.
Now, stop here. So a lot of chefs will say, oh my gosh, the yeast hates the salt, and salt hates the yeast, and whatever. And some of the chefs, they just mix it, and it's not a problem at all. And to be honest, we made this years now, and I've never seen yeast being angry with salt.
No, and the thing is, like,
So,
sometimes when you make a bread, you need a bread machine, you need like specific, put the yeast in a specific degree of water, let it sit for a while, all this. This is not important with this bread. This is like easy and
This is
lazy
like for people
bread.
who don't cook.
Yeah.
Like, that's the easy.
And then, so I've just mixed that together just a bit, and now I've got, this looks weird, but it's just hot water. It doesn't need to be hot, it can be cold. It's kind of like lukewarm,
like
actually.
a warm, yeah, it has to be warm water.
So then I'm gonna pour like 3 to 3.5 cups of water into this, and just mixing as I go. I'll definitely have to sweep the floors later, thank you. And so you just continue to mix it, and obviously you want to keep your hands clean because, hello, pandemic, and also your bread needs clean hands. So we mix, and if you don't even want to use a spoon and you're at home and you're just like, screw it, I'm going to use my hands right away.
I like usually start with a spoon, and then I then I'm fixing with the hands. And also,
And I'm of the screw it version where I
no,
just say, use
it's
your
too wet.
hands.
Yeah, but the idea is that, like, for example, if this bread is becoming too wet or something and it's really hard to take out from your hands, which you will probably see in a second, what you do is you just dump your hands in the water, and then it's much easier to get this whole dough, you know, away from your
Yeah, and
hands.
so basically you're just trying to combine all this, yeah? You may find that you need a little bit more water than 3 cups, a little bit less. Well, it's always at least 3 cups. Maybe you need 3.5, depending on, you know, what kind of flour.
Yeah,
you're
and we
using.
also make a smaller version, so it's like a half of everything. So it's 4 cups of flour and 2 cups of water on a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of yeast.
Yeah, so the ratios are always really simple. We'll repeat that again because I know last time people were asking for ratios. So if you're making a large bread, it is 6 cups of flour, and we're just using organic flour. We've tried gluten-free flour and it's not worked very well. You could try maybe
It's
spelt
okay,
flour.
but it's very flat.
And then we use 1 tablespoon, 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast, and then 3 to 3.5 cups of water.
That's the European way to show 3, and that's American way to
And then if you're making the smaller bread, you want to use 4 cups of flour, 2 to 2.5 cups of water,
Wait, I stopped.
and 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of
1
yeast.
small ones.
Yeah, teaspoon.
And that's
Okay.
basically it.
Yeah, and so now,
You want some water?
probably gonna need a little bit of water. I'm just, you know, kneading this. My bowl
Just
is
for your
scooting
hands.
away.
There you go.
Thank you. And then you're just gonna rub your hands together.
So you see how much easier it's just
Easier to take it off.
just take it off.
Obviously, you still gotta wash your hands.
Yeah.
So just getting that combined pretty well. Actually wasn't ready for that step because I didn't get the bottom here. So just get it combined, and then you're gonna take a clean dish rag and you're gonna soak it with some water, and that's gonna be your covering. I guess you could use plastic wrap, but I don't really think it's necessary. I feel like the bread stays more moist with a clean cooking rag.
Yeah. So,
So,
yeah, we live in a deserted
desert.
desert. We live in a desert
We also live in a very deserted place.
place. Yeah.
It's desert climate, so we need that extra moisture.
Yeah, and this actually holds so much better. Yeah, and like Michelle said, people use a foil. I think why use the plastic if you just can use the damp towel? And now, if I can say it, you leave this for 8 to 12 hours.
Yeah.
We also find out that even if you're gonna wait 6 hours, it's still fine. Even if you're gonna wait 4 hours, it's a little bit pushing, but it's still fine. There's nothing wrong with it. The bread is just gonna be smaller or bigger. And a lot of people will say, well, you know, the dough is gonna not get, you know, well done and stuff. Yes, but you know what? It tastes exactly the same. The only thing that I would suggest you to do is the next stage that we will show you. You have to leave the bread for the nap for at least 1 hour. That's important to prove. It's
So we
for
just
proof.
put this now just
Putting
on the
some
counter out of the way. And then the next step, I just touched my hair, I'm gonna wash my hands again. The next step is after it has taken a nap for that length of time, it's gonna look something like this bread.
Right. So this is 8 to 12
So
hours.
it's grown quite a bit. And then you're just gonna put some flour on the surface. Cutting board works fine. And you take it out. Do you wanna do it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I always also put some flour on the top. It's just easier to pick it up. So what I do, I just basically take this whole dough. You see how beautiful and elastic it is? Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So you just basically scoop every part of the dough that it's stuck into the bowl. I will probably need more flour because I'm
Okay.
the flour guy. I like one more on the dry side.
And I like it more on the wet side, so it works both ways.
Works definitely both ways.
Like that?
Oh, whoopsies. That was perfect. So yeah, and again, I add a little bit of flour, and then you basically knead, but you don't need to knead a lot. Like, Eli is there too. Like, that's basically it. And I'll just show you something. You would leave this right now and cover with the thing. But if you would like to make like a perfect ball, you're just going under with it, under with the hand, and you kind of like kneading that thing, and look how perfect and elastic that ball looks like.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
You see what I'm saying? It's super easy.
So then
now
you just put it down, and then you cover it with that same bowl.
And you cover with the same bowl, yeah.
And it needs like an hour to just nap and rise again. Yeah. And then from there, you put it in, what we like to use is a cast iron pot with a lid. If you don't have a cast iron pot with a lid, any kind of ceramic pot with a lid that has no plastic on it can go into the oven and it's gonna work. It works the best with a cast iron pot. I'm gonna just say that. We've tried it with lots of different kinds, but it will totally work with the ceramic one. So then now, to just kind of show you the progress, actually I don't know how long this bread.
So now is the choice, right? Because now we already put the bread for 35 minutes. The big one is
with the lid on.
Yeah, with the lid on for 35 minutes. The small one is sometimes for 30. Because it's baking like right away. It's just faster.
It's at 450 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, and it just beeped just before we started video. So I don't know how long this video is now. But basically now it's your choice. Since the lid is out, all you do is just baking it on top to make the crust or thicker or less thick.
Yeah, and it's anywhere between like 15 or 20 extra minutes, depending on like how crunchy you want it. So
if you like very crunchy and very like crunchy, you can actually go to like.
If you want it crunchy and very crunchy.
Very crunchy. You can go to like half an hour. It's gonna be really brown, like really brown bread.
Yeah, you just gotta check it and see, you know, depending on your altitude and your oven, what's gonna work. So you make the bread, you let it sit for each 12 hours or even 6 hours, and then once that's done, you put it to rest for about an hour, and then you use a cast iron pot with a lid for 35 minutes. You take the lid off, and then after that, 15-20 minutes extra just to get it to a crispiness without the lid that you'd like.
So this is probably like 7 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, it looks really beautiful, but I think we could do a little bit more.
Yeah.
So let's set a timer because we don't want to burn the bread while we're trying to show you. And so now what I wanted to do, I thought would be fun, is to just show you a couple ways to serve this. Obviously, this bread, well, not obviously, you don't know, but this bread is so good. You can literally just eat it alone. But I'm going to show you a couple toppings that you can put on it. I made up a savory one and a sweet one. So the savory one, I'm going to be using just a food processor. I had in my pantry these roasted red bell peppers, so I'm going to use that. I've got a half a cup, I'm going to use the whole can of roasted red bell peppers, that's 12 ounces. I've got a half a cup of almonds that I've been soaking here, I'm going to drain these, and 3 cloves of garlic. We're going to see what that tastes like and then add some spices to it. So can you plug that in? I'll drain this.
So yeah, and then guys, I'm telling you, this bread is gonna be, it's already amazing. So with those spreads, or like, you know, we always, like Michele said, we use like butter and stuff like that. I love the weirdest thing ever, which is very Polish into some families. You use the bread, butter, and put the clean sauerkraut on that thing, and it's just, delicious.
Yeah, with like, I mean, this is not a weight loss food, I'm just gonna say that. But it's a really good food, and if you need some bread and you don't wanna go out of the house, you can absolutely use this. So with some Earth Balance or some kind of Miyoko's vegan butter, it's amazing. Or with a little bit of a spread. So I'm doing this, yeah, you can move it. Half a cup of the soaked and drained almonds. And then I'm gonna do 3 garlic cloves. And then I'm trying to decide how much of this like water from here I wanna put in. So I'm just gonna take the majority of it out and then put the roasted red bell peppers in.
That looks so nice already. 3
ingredients, super simple. And then like I said, let's taste it and then we can see if we wanna add some spices. After this live video is over, I'll put the instructions for everything so you're not like, what'd you say? Okay, I just borrowed this from my sister because ours broke, so.
Our broke because we put our chocolate in the dishwasher and melted. Not totally, but like, whoops, we forgot. So.
I feel like I'm not doing that right. Okay.
There we go.
Okay, yay. All right, now I'm just gonna put it on high. To probably pulse this a little bit. I don't want it to be like liquidy, which is not going to happen in a food processor, but I want a little bit of chunks, so let me just pulse for a little bit more. And then can you do me a favor, hand me, actually, let me just grab all
It
these.
smells amazing already.
So I think it's probably good already, but these are some spices that I know or have a feeling will taste good in it. So let me just give it a taste
Yeah,
and see how it is.
that's really nice.
Let's see. It's great.
Very nice. Okay.
So already, I'm just gonna sprinkle in a little bit of salt. Maybe that's like, I don't know, just salt to taste. A little bit of garlic salt. Smoked paprika, which I think will taste really nice here.
Yeah, smoked paprika is always so good. Like it's this very like a foresty taste for everything.
And then a little bit of nutritional yeast. I don't think I'm gonna put pepper in. I changed my mind on that.
All right.
Okay, so blend that up again, or pulse it a couple times.
Here we go.
And let's see. Really good.
Is it good? Okay.
I think that's fine. So you want to taste it?
Now I want to have another spoon because you know how it goes.
So I actually didn't end up using any of the extra water. And it's good. This is something that you can serve at a party for yourself during quarantine, or
That's
later
good.
serve it at a party with people.
Yeah, I'll put more salt probably and paprika still.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then just
a little bit.
you know, keep it in a glass jar with a lid, and it should last at least like 3-4 days. And then you can put it over your bread, and that would be really nice as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
You
try
mix
that.
up.
Now, if someone would like to have more thick, then what would you do? The tapioca, or would you add more almonds? Probably, huh?
Maybe more almonds, but
Yeah.
I was trying to keep it like pretty low fat, with just a half a cup of
Makes
almonds.
sense,
But
yeah.
if you feel like it's too runny, you could probably add more almonds, or maybe even like you said, add some tapioca flour. So we'll just save that in a glass container,
Let's do it.
and then I'm gonna have Chris move the camera, and I'm gonna show you how to make the cherry chia seed jam.
So here we go. I'm moving you guys. Sorry. There we go. You know, when we're gonna afford a studio, then the camera will work for us. There we go.
Okay,
Cameraman.
so with this cherry chia seed jam, it's really hard for me to say. I just want to say that you can use. I used a bag of not a bag of frozen cherries, but I used frozen cherries for this. Frozen cherries are not necessary. I feel, although I've only made this with cherries, you could probably do it with strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, any kind of berry or frozen fruit that you want. I chose frozen fruit because, you know, there's not a lot of fruit to be had around my area right now anyways. So I've got 1.5 cups of frozen cherries that have kind of been sitting out. They're a little bit not so frozen
I'm
anymore.
gonna bring you closer a little so you can see what we're doing.
And then I'm gonna take a tablespoon of lemon juice and pour that in there. And then I'm gonna turn the heat on. I'm gonna let this cook for a little bit and just stir it around. And then the point is to just kind of like mash these cherries up. So I'll use a potato masher in a moment, but I'm not there yet. So just let that cook. So I've got sweet cherries, sweet frozen cherries, and a tablespoon of lemon in there. And then as the heat goes, you can just begin to mash. This reminds me of something I used to make all the time over when I wasn't vegan, over ice cream as a topping. I would just put like frozen mixed berries and sugar in a little pot like this, and then serve it over ice cream. That's a very similar idea to this first step. But that's not what we're making, so I don't even know why I brought that up. Okay, then I'm gonna take a potato masher.
Okay,
I'm just
let me
gonna
see this
start
again then.
to mash.
There we go. Here we go.
Okay, so just to get the juices out. And then there's two options with this. If you want it to be super chunky, then obviously you don't make so much of this mashing step. But I prefer it more smooth, personally. Okay, so mashy, mashy, mashy.
That looks good. I mean, that looks like some baby food.
Yeah, and I totally think this would work with, like, if you have frozen mixed berries, if you have frozen blueberries, if you have frozen raspberries, frozen strawberries, it's all gonna dissipate. But cherries are really high in antioxidants. All those fruits I just mentioned are high in antioxidants. But it's kind of an unexpected or a departure for me because I don't eat as many cherries as I should.
And the good news about this whole thing probably is that during this time, even if if you can go to store, first of all, if you can go to store and you can, like for example, go to Costco or Walmart or some bigger store, you can probably get the frozen stuff. I mean,
Yeah, for sure. That's why I chose frozen.
People got crazy for rice, flour, for toilet paper. But if you see like a produce, at least in our state, it's always there. Like there's no problem to find anything
Which is crazy
green.
because like
Yeah, right?
that's what's gonna make you healthy and have immunity is eating the fruits and vegetables. So
This is like it's the opposition of people thinking. But obviously, every other item is more like a perishable, right? So that's why people getting on rice and beans and all this kind of things. But then, like Michele said, this is still important to have some greens, to have some vitamins.
okay, so I'm bringing that to a small boil, so you can check that out here.
Okay, there we go.
Just a small boil here, getting a little bit of the liquid soaked up, but honestly the chia seeds will do their job to soak this up. So then I'm gonna turn the heat off. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm gonna add 4 tablespoons of chia seeds. This is what creates that jam kind of consistency. Not right now, but after a couple of hours. And then I'm gonna add, it's up to you. You just wanna taste if you like 3 tablespoons of maple syrup or 4, depending on sweetness. I will say that initially, I just did 3 and it tasted sweet enough to me at this stage, but then after I left it in the fridge for a while, I added the 4th. So that is that. And then you're just gonna pour it into a container, a glass container that has a lid, which I'll get now. And you let it sit in the fridge for
There we go.
2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours. So that's like, that's not a very long time. For the whole thing. What should
I need like a small container. I don't have one. Okay, well,
Yeah, doing this one.
let's do this one. So,
Sorry.
I think if we had a small one, it would be, well, it's really not better or worse. I'm using this.
What about this one?
I don't know where the lid is. We have so many jars that we've recycled.
Oh, there's the bread.
That's the bread. Let's take that out.
That's probably actually brown.
And you can probably, let's see, just take the bread out
Check
first.
this out. There we go. Let's cancel that. There we go. So I'm always forgetting.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
So check this out. So this is like very brown now.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
See how crispy this will be? It's amazing, huh?
Yeah, and you just want to let it cool a little bit before you cut into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to this. After you put that down, you can maneuver the camera.
Yeah, there we go. Can I use that, or you need more gas, or are you good?
No, I'm done. Yeah.
Cool.
But if you can just show this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
There we go.
I got chia seeds
Oh,
in
sorry.
my teeth.
Hold it.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know how to do it. There we go.
So then I'm just pouring it into this jar. And at this point, it just needs to cool and become gel-like from the chias. But that needs 2 to 3 hours in the fridge. Okay, get all the little chias in there.
Nice. That's very good.
Okay, and then I'll just put a lid on. Doesn't have to be, you know, just a lid that fits. And then I'm gonna stick it into the fridge. And I'm gonna show you guys, I made one of these yesterday so I could show you the finished product. So there's the one I just started, and then I'm gonna show you the finished product here. This is the one I made yesterday. After it kind of, we can bring it back here.
You can bring it back? Yeah, sure.
After it has had its moment of, you know, solidifying by being in the fridge for 2 to 3 hours, it's gonna be chunky and it's gonna be more jam consistency. At this point, you have a choice. You can either leave it like that and it's super chunky, or what I did is pour the entire contents into a food processor, this same food processor since we just have one, and I just pulsed it until it was a little bit smoother. So let me show you the consistency of this one.
I like this version much better.
Yeah, I do too. It really looks like actual jam. Can you see that? And so I was thinking that this would taste so nice on that freshly warm baked bread.
Ooh, yummy.
It's good.
Yeah.
Definitely has that chia seed, you know, like taste to it, but it's also really good. It's just like a hint of sweetness.
So good.
And I think this is gonna taste great on the bread.
This is gonna be awesome. Like with the bread, oh, it's
Yeah.
delicious. Let
So
me take the
those-
bread out on the cutting board.
Sure. So those are the two options. We've got the savory, what am I gonna call this? Almond garlic tapenade, roasted red pepper, gotta think of a shorter name, and then the cherry chia seed jam. So those are two options. Neither one of these are in my cookbook, but the bread is in my cookbook, and I'll leave the recipes down below in the description. If you guys have any questions about these recipes, or if you wanna see us make something else, let me know. And then if you joined in after the beginning, just a little reminder that I've got, for the next 48 hours, my cookbook on sale for $9.99 and $50 off of my weight loss course if you are interested. And yeah, let's show the bread so you can see the finished product.
Now you do want to take it out from the pot as soon as it's ready because it's just gonna get moist on the top, on the bottom, sorry. So it's gonna get moist and it's gonna get wet. You don't want to cut it right away. You want to let it just to, you know, rest for like at least half an hour, because there's a still process happening inside. But look how beautiful this is. Only 3 ingredients, the most easiest bread in the whole world. Anybody can do this, and it's just awesome. And it tastes,
It tastes really good.
like
And so I
dream.
hope, I mean, the reason I chose these things is because I thought, you know, maybe you have some of these things in your, what's that? Because you probably have some of these things in your pantry already. So enjoy. I hope you guys are safe and healthy. I'm thinking about you all and just hoping that this time is a blessing in disguise in the midst of all this crazy trial and just crazy time of isolation. We love you and we hope that you're doing well. Be safe, be healthy, and enjoy some good
Enjoy your family too.
Yeah, enjoy your family time.
Cook together,
Yeah,
stay
have
healthy
fun.
together, and yeah.
I'm going to awkwardly turn this off. Okay, bye.
Bye. Ciao, ciao.